Good morning, everybody. Everybody had a good morning so far? Come on. So, Felicia Johnson asked me to participate in this program, and she asked me two things. She asked me about to comment on responsibility and accountability, and what do those traits mean to me, and what type of employee do I want to work with? And so this is what I came up with. So the first question is just what is commitment? Commitment is actually, at its very basic level, it's when you say yes. That's all it is. Someone comes up and asks you to do something and you say yes, you've made a commitment. Right? So when your mom and dad asked you to make up your bed, you said yes. As a student, when your instructors tell you to turn in an assignment, you say yes. As an employee, in your interview, and the guy that's interviewing says, "Will you come to work?" You say, "Sure, I'll come to work." A bunch of you don't. When you say yes, you enter into a contract. It's a verbal contract. There's no lawyers, no paperwork, but you enter into a personal contract with somebody. You're making a commitment to do something for that person. You have an obligation to do something. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter what they ask. When you say yes, it's yes. I'll do that. Now, the good news is it's so easy to say yes. 3-letter word. Yes. Nothing to it. It's what comes next that's the problem. And that's tied to the commitment is responsibility. Now you're actually responsible for something. You're responsible for a task. You're responsible for a duty. You're responsible for something. Might be big, might be small, might be easy, might be hard, might get over real quick, might be forever. But you have that responsibility. And here's the next thing that Felicia didn't ask me about. But it is inexplicably tied to responsibility and commitment. And this is when it gets hard. It's accountability. So when someone in my staff is standing around and I say, "Chuck, I need you to do this," and he says yes, now he's responsible. Now Chuck cannot give that responsibility up. It's his. He owns it. Now he may walk over to Mike and say, "Mike, Charlie asked me to do this. Will you do this for me? Because I'm busy doing something else." And this chain of command goes back and forth. And a lot of times these things get pushed down to the person that's the newest person in the staff. The rookie. Especially if it's something that nobody wants to do. But guess who still has the responsibility and the accountability? I don't go to Susie when everything goes to heck in a handbag. You know who I go to? I go to Chuck. Because that's who I gave that responsibility and accountability to, and Chuck said yes. So, the other thing that Ms. Johnson asked me about was, what do these things mean to me? So when I'm sitting around and thinking about who I want to work for me, and it doesn't matter whether it's a senior level person or an operator out on the injection molding floor. I want people who will commit. I want people who will accept responsibility. And I want people that will accept accountability. Small words, big stuff. When they show that they can do those things, guess what happens then? trust develops. And now I'll come back to them. And I'll come back and I'll give them more responsibility and more accountability. And guess what will happen? They'll start to grow. They'll get bigger and better assignments. Salaries go up. Responsibilities go up. All of those things are inextricably tied together. And it all comes from saying yes. The hard work comes when you have to follow through with all that. In business, in life, no matter what you do, there are no lone rangers. Everybody's on a team. And that commitment to that team and the ability to trust someone and the ability to see a project through to the end is the most important thing that all of you will do. And so, in closing, let me say this. You're going to make mistakes in how you choose your commitments, your responsibilities. You're going to have failures. We all do. But I think the best advice that I can give you, and something that I hope you would take away from this little 5 minutes this morning, is forget the mistake, but remember the lesson. Thanks.